Okay, Sophia, so could you tell me what are the biggest gifts and griefs for you of being a third culture kid?
The gifts that I've received from traveling and moving around so much are definitely that it's easy for me to connect with people. I'm used to change, I'm used to people moving around me, and I'm very adaptable to new situations. The grieves I would have is that I don't have like a home base. I think it's difficult, especially when you're growing up, to have an identity if you're always moving and everything's changing around you. So that's something I've had to struggle with.
Thank you. What are some social adjustments you had to make when you were moving to different countries? Like, could you give me a day-to-day example?
I think first off is just language. You know, I had to learn different languages. I grew up speaking English and German at home. Then I had to learn, well, not really Polish, but Dutch, and then go to school at a German-American school. So that was a big thing. But other than that, it's hard because each country is so different, but it's more, in each culture, they like, especially when you have to greet people, you have to, how many kisses do you do? Do you shake hands? Do you hug? It's very confusing.
Okay, so now you are a third culture kid. Knowing all of the experiences you had in general, would you want to do the same thing to your children? Like, would you, if you had the opportunity, give them the same experience?
I've thought about that. Hopefully I won't have kids for a little while, but I definitely see myself continuing to move around. I don't like staying in one place for too long, and as much as it's hard to move around so much, I think I've gotten so much more positive experiences from moving around than I did negative, so I think I would do the same.
Do you think you can become a third culture adult? Like, or do you think it would be called something else? Do you think somebody on their later age would be able to become a third culture adult?
I think that when you're older, it's very different if you start traveling when you're, say, 18, because if you lived in one place your whole life, you definitely have a culture. I think it definitely has to be something where either your parents and the country you live in are very different. That's like a typical third culture kid. But when you're an adult, maybe you're like an expatriate or you travel around a lot. It's just different because I feel like so many people I've talked to have like one place that they call home, but third culture kids are different because they don't feel like they're defined by one place.
Thank you. Do you feel like you're sometimes culturally homeless?
Yeah, definitely. Especially like meeting people and up with people, we have to like say where you're from in your country when you say something, and it's very hard for me because I have to get up and say I'm Sophia from, and then I always have to think about it. I'm like, well, I don't know where I'm from, and homeless sounds bad. I think I'm more like a mosaic of different countries. I like to put it that way rather than I'm homeless. I'm not just one, you know.
Great. Are there any organizations or assemblies or events that are organized for third culture kids?
I've never come across like a group or an event for third culture kids. I think it's hard to get us together because we're so spread out all around the world. But with the internet, I have found like Twitter conversations where there's hashtags about like TCK, third culture kid, conversations where people get on Twitter and talk about like difficulties of growing up in this lifestyle, or the advantages. I should add that as well. There's Facebook groups. There's like BuzzFeed lists that I found that are like 31 ways to find out or to realize when you know you're a third culture kid. So there's definitely like a culture and a community, but since we're so spread out all around the world, I think it lives on the internet is more what I would say.
Well, Sophia, thank you so much. Is there anything else you would like to add for my class members to know about third culture kids?
I think that not many people know about this like certain community, and if anybody goes to an international school or has been to an international school, I'm sure they know about third culture kids. But I think it's really exciting that you guys are all doing this project. I think it's super cool. I'm very flattered. So thank you.